U.S. tariffs.
It is important to emphasize that these developments do not reflect any erosion in the long-standing and strong bilateral relationship between Jamaica and the United States. Rather, it reflects a broader recalibration of U.S. trade policy that is global in scope. Still, we will use every available diplomatic channel, including working with our CARICOM brothers and sisters and utilizing the Office of Trade Negotiations to seek to preserve the positions our exporters have secured over decades of deepening trade ties with the United States.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. So Senator Hill, where do we start? What we're doing?
What we're doing, Dion, is really to get a clarification. We have two pieces of arrangement, if you'll allow me to use that term, in place. The CBI, that is the Caribbean Basin Initiative, put together under President Reagan, a Republican, and we now have a new tariff arrangement, which, by the sound of it, could be right across the board. And that is the quandary we're in, and we're waiting for, as you lawyers would say, better particulars. In other words, more details to find out. For instance, has the new tariff superseded the CBI?
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Morning and welcome to Portland Spice TV. Ralston, morning.
Yeah, man. Blessed love, man.
Yeah, man. We have to give thanks to the Most High God first and foremost.
Every time, man.
Before anything else, my brother. Now, Ralston, this morning we want to look at the health of Jamaica's economy, because we hear that we are lying and we are spreading misinformation and all of that. So we just want to calmly and gently welcome the world to listen this morning while we look at the health and wealth of Jamaica's economy. What is the health of Jamaica's economy, Ralston, when you do the ultrasound, you do the CT scan, you do the MRI scan? What is the health of this economy?
The Jamaican economy is in a recession, right? The poverty rate is increasing. We saw an acceleration in inflation in March of this year compared with March of last year and February. We also see now for the first time in a long time the value of the consumer and food import bill for the first 11 months of last year was way ahead of what we got from our total exports of goods and services. Mm-hmm. We see the remittance flows are shrinking because of what is happening in the U.S. And we see that the tourism earnings are also flattening because of what is happening in the U.S. And the people are more desperate than ever. We saw the dollar, since Donald Trump announced his tariff, and since we haven't gotten any poor response from the government, apart from the foolishness that you had all been saying a while ago, the dollar has been depreciating every single day since that, despite every central bank intervention. Last week, it was $90 million US, 27 billion Jamaican dollars mopped up. Yesterday, Friday, we saw another 8 billion being mopped up, and we see 3 instruments coming out next week to continue the same process, because the dollar is under significant pressure because of the poor response of the government in relation to what is happening internationally. We also have the worst finance minister that has ever gone down to the Ministry of Finance in the history of Jamaica.
So you are classifying Favour Williams as the worst finance minister
ever in the history of Jamaica.
And you just gave us all the symptoms to say that the Jamaican economy is in a recession a while ago. What are the symptoms or what are the checks that you have used to now recognize Favour Williams as the worst finance minister?
Well, since he has gone down to the ministry, she has not made any statement that is confidence inspiring. First, she told us about the nonsense about throw boxes. Then, despite the crisis that is taken internationally, she said the major objective of macroeconomic policy is to bring the debt to GDP ratio down to 60% so that we can borrow at more affordable rates in an environment where international interest rates are going up because of what is happening with the dollar. The dollar is inflating the global economy, and she's still saying that we are going to continue on the same track that Nigel Clark left. So that we can get more money to borrow, rather than saying that we're going to shift emphasis now and focus on production and export, so that we do not have to borrow so much in a world that it is going to become more difficult to borrow. There was also a town hall meeting constituency that we should have attended that UTEC, and she failed to attend. There's also the argument about she wanted company to negotiate with to conduct the debate with Julian Robinson. And there's also the experience on her side where the speaker have to be handling her like a child in parliament every time she makes a presentation. That is pathetic.
No. So if you look at her as the worst finance minister, how do you classify the Prime Minister's statement talking about the economy is stable and we are lying?
Well, the Prime Minister is the one who is lying. The Prime Minister was on the road the other day saying that we're not borrowing when they were borrowing every day. Right now, if you look at the Bank of Jamaica's website, and his friends them and his supporters can look at the Bank of Jamaica's website and see the three instruments that will be open next week.
So next week, the government will be borrowing from Jamaicans.
More.
From Jamaicans, locally.
Yep. And every time, again, this is another thing. Every time they float an instrument. Last week they wanted 20 billion from a CD.
Yeah.
They got 66 billion.
So investors, that should say to us that investors are not really investing. They are now preferably buying government papers.
And they do that when they have no confidence. They are running for safety. If they have confidence, they'll be investing those things in goods and services. They are now running for safety.
So Dan Anderson came out the other day with a poll that says business confidence is down. Speak to us about that.
Well, I told you from in December that what they were doing, it was a political decision on the part of Metro Siaga and his friends to tell the people that there was confidence, because if there was confidence, they wouldn't be investing, giving the Bank of Jamaica so much money to lock up in the vault.
Right.
At that time, we were saying that the economy was in a recession, and how could investors be confident in a recession? No, because they never wanted to call it. They took a political decision, because even Don himself said he couldn't understand what they were saying to him, but as a pollster, he has the obligation to publish the results. So we knew
what they said to him.
That was. So we knew that was a fake, and so the evidence now, consumer business confidence is down by a whopping 11.3 percentage points during the quarter ended just recently. So how could you drop from that high levels of confidence in December, and then by March you're down in a tunnel?
Is it your opinion, Ralston, that members of the administration would have called business people and asked them to say that you are confident in the economy, so that result came out last year? Or
that's part of it, and the members of the leading business community, they are not operating independently. They have aligned themselves with the current administration, just like the people in the US.
But we heard one businessman came out the other day, I can't remember his name right now, and said that this is the worst he has ever seen in the economy.
That's a very objective person. That's somebody I know a long time. Omar Azan.
Right.
He was the former president of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, completely different from the one that we have now.
But nobody challenged him. You realize, Ralston, that nobody opened their mouth.
Because Omar Azan is a stalwart in this business. Yeah.
Omar Azan came out and said that as a businessman, this is the worst he has ever seen it. And nobody, not one person, he was able to say, you're talking rubbish.
That is a fact. They can't challenge what I'm saying either. That is why they come and say, oh boy, they're just telling lies, but they can't come with any numbers to challenge what we're saying, because the numbers are there to show.
And that's what I've been saying to people. We come on this program, Ralston is on his program weekdays, Mondays to Fridays on Power 106, Real Business. I am here 3 times a week, and we are talking about the numbers. And all I see on social media Them say we bad mind. We are idiot.
Yep.
Nobody has been able to come with some figures and said, here is our side. They cannot challenge our argument, Ralston.
Precisely. I'm going to give you an anecdote. You know, somebody called me and said, they was talking to Marlon Morgan.
Yeah.
The time was I call up my name. And them said to him, said, so tell me which number he never says wrong. He said, no, numbers are not wrong, but he's a PNP active.
No, what he's saying is that we are against Jamaica because we talk these things. We are put the country in a bad light. It's the same thing they are saying about Jesse James Clark. E. coli is in the water, other contaminants is in the water, and Jesse James Clark come out and mention it. And they are saying that we're going against Jamaica. Well, we must close our eyes and watch it crash.
Yeah, man, garbage.
No, Ralston, based on all that you have said earlier about the economy, where is the economy going? Tell us the trajectory that you are seeing and what you are predicting based on the data, because you don't talk from the seat of your pants. We don't talk from our emotions. We talk from the data. Where is this going?
As long as it's their same friends in the business community, the institutions and the people who manage pension money and all of those. Right now, they have no confidence, and that is why they are giving the Bank of Jamaica all their money to lock up in the vault and earn 6.5% per annum, because they know as long as we continue on the current trajectory, given what is happening internationally, the economy is going to continue to shrink, continue to go down, unless there's a change in policy. And right now, they haven't heard anything sensible from Trayvon Williams, and they haven't heard anything sensible from Albany, and they haven't heard anything sensible from the Prime Minister, apart from cussing everybody who are trying to analyze the economy in a sensible way. So based on what is happening, you don't have to go after what I say. Just look at what the investing community is doing. Giving the Bank of Jamaica their money to lock up in the vault at 6.5% per annum, because they see as long as these policies continue, they are not optimistic about the direction of the economy. We need to see a change in policy.
Listeners and viewers, what is happening is that the Jamaican government is borrowing money on the local market. The Bank of Jamaica is saying that there's too much money out there not being invested, so we want it. Every time the government say that they want money to borrow, if they say they want 20 million, 20 billion, 60 billion come.
Yeah,
and
man.
Why that is happening is that people are not going to invest because they are afraid of losing their money. Isn't that so?
Simply, correct.
Simply speaking. Now, Ralston, there's a saying that says, anytime the U.S. sneeze, Jamaica will catch the cold.
Yeah, man.
Is it that, should we believe that the U.S. really is having a cold right now?
U.S. is having more than a cold. U.S. is having a terrible state of Trumpian influenza.
So if the U.S. is having a cold right now, that means Jamaica catch COVID and pneumonia with it?
Yeah, you're right. And that is why the investors are running for cover, because the Jamaican governor, the doctor, Dr. Andrew Holness, has not told the people how he's going to deal with the U.S. influenza.
For about 13 years, Anthony Hilton been talking about a logistics hub, Jamaica becoming the 4th logistics hub in the world. Mm-hmm. This government has sat down on it. We saw the break ground down at Caymanas earlier this week. What are your views on that?
Yeah, well, they say we see the break ground with Caymanas and Raintree, because what they're now realizing is that late in the day, that these are some things that are needed if the economy is going to move. Yeah, given what is happening internationally, but they are late in the game, better late than never. But they are finally seeing the vision of what Tony was seeing at that time.
But do you believe...
That is why when Tony addressed the thing, he told the Prime Minister that you certainly cannot claim paternity for this one.
Well, the truth is, and for the first time, I heard the Prime Minister saying Anthony Hilton is the father. Yep. He said that.
Well, he's saying that because Tony mentioned that in his opening statement. Because Tony was there at the opening too.
Oh, Tony spoke?
Yeah.
No, I never
and that
saw...
was the first thing in Tony's statement. He told the Prime Minister directly that you cannot claim paternity for this one. The Prime Minister wouldn't be honest enough to say that if Tony never said that before.
I did not watch the thing live. I went back and I watched the Prime Minister.
I had all the presentations, both the Prime Minister's presentation and Tony's presentation.
Well, I have to go look on Tony's presentation. I never know that Tony spoke, but I heard
right him
I heard him giving Tony the recognition.
Because they couldn't do anything else.
Are you confident that they really understand it, Ralston, or they are just doing it because something needs to be done?
Yeah, man, they don't understand it. They are just trying to think after this long delay, because this is 13 years after.
13 years.
Those things have been up and running, and the economy would have been in a better position now.
What other plans are you seeing from the government to grow the economy, if any?
Well, we don't see anything else. We don't hear about anything in agriculture. We don't hear anything about sensible in energy. We don't hear anything sensible about training up the labor force. We don't hear anything sensible about diversifying the country's export partners. What they are doing is trying to see if the U.S. will give them a blight. And they are forgetting that Dr. Kissinger said U.S. do not have friends, the U.S. only have interests.
No,
if you listen to Albany, you'll see that they are trying and hoping that the Donald will give them a blight.
I have a major concern.
Because the thing about CBI, the executive orders by Donald effectively kill all of those things. So you're telling Jamaican people foolishness. Every arrangement that we had before or any other part of the world, those things have been superseded by the Donald's trade war. So they're not going back to that. So that is nonsense they're telling the people.
No, I have a major concern, Ralston. Because like an aeroplane, you're going to fly, or like a ship going to sea, your radar needs to be working so that you can map your route and you can see what is coming at you and you can see where to go. You can see if there's a storm so you can change course. The government has allocated $4 billion for a population census. To date, that census has not been completed. How then can the government plan effectively for this nation?
Yeah, well, it's difficult to plan, and that is one thing. And the census is done every 10 years. So it's now 20 years now since we haven't done a census. And that is one thing I mentioned when people were talking. I said, how is an Isaac great and couldn't complete a census? This is the first time in the history of Jamaica we have been able to complete a population census. Right now, Statin doesn't have an head because Ms. Coy retired, and I know they haven't named anybody to run Statin. So it tells you the low level of expectation they have of the agency. Yeah.
Is it a lack of...
That's a big blunder.
Is there a lack of talent in the government, Ralston? Because a country has many moving parts, and you can't just focus on one or two things. Everything has to be monitored. Do you believe that this government is monitoring all the things that needs to be monitored in Jamaica for the country?
The Prime Minister has too much responsibility, and he doesn't have the capacity to carry out those responsibilities. And as I said before, Favour Williams is the worst finance minister. They are the top faces of the government. Kamina Johnson doesn't understand international trade. Yes, so you see the problem we have. The top four, they don't understand what is happening globally.
Let's go back and look back at some of the figures, because you mentioned the recession earlier. The first quarter of last year, we grew by 1%. Second quarter, 0.8%. Third quarter, we went down by 3.8%. Fourth quarter, we went down by 0.8%. How is the first quarter of 2025 looking, Ralston? What are you hearing?
Based on what is happening and based on what they say, they'll expect between 0 and 0.8%. Based on what is happening globally and the poor response and what is happening locally in terms of investing, I see another decline again. So, because even their best estimate was, forget, 0.8%.
So if the government...
And that was before all hell broke loose with Donald Trump and all of these things.
Right. So if the government, before the tariffs and the trade war, because we're going to look at the trade war between US and China, because that have implications for Jamaica. But if the government before all of that barely looked at it and said we might grow by 0.8%.
0.8.
That for me is basically no growth. If the government was looking at that, what then can we as a people expect?
Another decline in this quarter.
So we are guesstimating that this is the beginning of a hell-shaped recession?
Well, I'd say yeah, unless there's a policy shift.
What policy, what shift could make a difference, Ralston? What could make a difference?
Well, they are running out of time now because the election is just around the corner. But whoever wins the election, the policy shifts that we've seen is to reduce the focus on just talking about debt reduction, the one-sided focus, And growth has to be the focus of policy. And in dealing with that growth, you have to deal with energy, because if you have a lower energy cost, the tariff will not affect you. That's one. You have to deal with the whole situation in terms of agriculture, because it's not tolerable that your food import bill, you can't buy your food with your total income. That's madness. Yeah. Then you'll have to look to the creative industries. Bartlett sees that, so he gave us some bogus figures on the creative industry in terms of carnival recently.
We have to talk about that too, but hold on.
Yeah, because they're seeing the importance of that industry. So those are the things, and the logistics. So those are the things that the next administration have to focus on. Growth has to be the major focus of macroeconomic policy now, not debt reduction. When you grow, your debt not coming like nothing. You have enough money to pay your debt and you don't have to borrow. Yeah?
So this bragging about bringing down the debt to 68%, debt to GDP to 68%, which other country in the world, Ralston, have that kind of debt to GDP?
Only Germany, and that is why Germany now have to turn back and fix the problem and come up with a $500 billion US stimulus plan. That thing came out of Europe, and Germany is the only country in Europe that hit that. And as a result of that, it pushed them into a recession. And the new chancellor of Germany the other day have to come up and say, yo, what them money they had before, I have to do that. Right, I know me I stimulate the economy.
Hold on.
So then change the constitution in Germany to have a $500 billion stimulus plan.
How long now Germany has been in a recession?
3 years. And Germany is the third largest economy in the world. So when you ain't anywhere and them money I tell you about foolishness about economy strong, so it can't in a recession. Germany is the third largest economy in the world, and they were in a recession for 3 years.
So
and can't tell the Jamaican people them foolishness that them they are the lie them.
So this administration did not see that Germany charting the same course that we are on end up in a recession, and therefore
that's why I'm narrate them, because they don't understand the international economy. They're very tunnel vision. That's the point I'm making here. That is why the reason I'm telling you, Fabian Williams are the worst finance minister, because she don't have a clue about what takes place in the world. And Jamaica is a small economy operating in a larger international economy that is dominated by the USA, China, European Union.
So,
yeah, and
so what I'm seeing,
country of the European Union.
What I'm seeing from this is that we don't learn from other people's experience.
No, because they have no international experience. That's the point I'm making here. It's the same thing them did in 2008. Tell the people for the Great Recession would have helped Jamaica. I tell you how we get now this debt to GDP now, what them talk about. Then tell the people that 2008 for the Great Recession would have helped Jamaica. And then when the whole thing broke, then they are dilly-dally. When we tell them to go to the IMF and get some money, then dilly-dally until it comes down to the last point. And then fire Laxibody in 2009. And then go to IMF now and take a foolish agreement because they had no experience. Ardisha had no experience about IMF. Dwight Nelson had no experience about IMF. My good friend Dan Webber never had no experience about IMF. And Laxibody, the man who had experience about IMF. Then fire Ardisha, two bull can roll in a one pen. Then them go and take a standby arrangement for 27 months rather than take an extended funds facility. And then get 2.4 billion from the man, them IMF, World Bank, IDB, and them only pass one test.
So it's the same level of arrogance we're talking about now.
Yeah, and abandon the program. And so the debt to GDP reach up to 146%, 147. And I saw Peter Phillips and Portia Simpson and Maxine Waters and them people have to get IMF to start talk back to Jamaica again. And so the debt come down. Venezuela sell away $3 billion for $1.5 billion. And so the debt start fall. And then 2017, when them come in and change the definition of the debt, take out the Bank of Jamaica debt. And so the debt to GDP start fall. So they might take credit for a problem that them created. That is what the lie the Prime Minister telling.
So,
and he was a senior member of that team, was the leader of government business
in the House
at that time.
Yes. Yeah. No. Are we seeing the same level of arrogance going forward this time again, Rasta?
Arrogance and stupidity. I don't know arrogance alone, stupidity, because you can be a small economy with the US are a major trading partner, and the US fight a trade war with the European Union, because it's not just China alone. China are the main target, but Trump's so stupid that it includes everybody, including the European Union, and then you have to pretend like it now have no impact on you when you import. Jamaica import 90% of the raw materials that they use. All of that are coming with tariffs. That's why all the prices them are going up this week.
So, what you said a while ago?
Jamaica import 90% of all the raw materials that we use for production.
No, not
all
that.
The raw materials.
You said something about prices.
Yeah, all the price are go up.
What do you mean every
Because
price?
the raw
a go up?
materials that we used to produce, all of them are coming with tariff.
Well,
All them mutton and sheep that we get from New Zealand and Australia, all them are coming with tariff. Once them pass through the US, them are coming with tariff.
So
All
what-
of them pass through the US.
Hold on, Ralston. So what you tell me, say? Food price are going to go up?
Of course.
People,
Of course.
Ralston,
Yeah.
Iman just say all of the prices them are going to go up
I
next
go.
week.
You see an acceleration in inflation. It started already. Inflation is now 5% from 4.4%. And them things never kick in yet.
You're frightened me now. You're
Them
frightened.
not tell the truth about the economy. Remember,
Well, me
as we
want
say
the
again,
truth,
Jamaican people don't know.
But it not necessarily means
largest-
that the truth now going to frighten me, Ralston, but me want the truth. Tell me.
Yep. The largest import bill we have is for raw materials and spare parts. That's our largest import bill.
Raw material.
Yeah.
So the things where you need to make flour, you need to make flour. The things where you need to make
imported.
animal feed. The things where your parts for your vehicle, all of that.
All right. All of that. And
Going
most
up.
of them come from China or the Far East, and all them countries are under tariff. We know under 20% and 145%. So all them things, the price of them things have to increase.
So instead of the Prime Minister telling us to brace, because I saw a blogger, Ralston, and he brought up the Prime Minister saying that he was watching a TikTok live and we are lying. The blogger brought up your picture and my picture. And said, stop talking about blogger, say Colin Bella and Ralston, man. And the man, them not telling a lie. The blogger went to BOJ and draw the figures for the Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ralston, this trade war with China and the United States, you just mentioned that 90% of our raw materials and spare parts are imported. They come through the United States. Anything coming from China that touches the US is going to have serious tariff. What?
145%. I'm going to give you a simple example. And the woman them can identify with this more. Shein
Yes.
and Temu, when them buy them something fun.
Yeah.
Them man, so them prices are go up from the 25th of this month, which is Friday, because of the tariffs that them have to pay for come through the US.
So all our we used to buy upon Shein for little and nothing will be going up.
Will be going up Friday. Man, them don't tell you the date already. Friday. Yep.
No, Ralston.
Because what Trump do, apart from the 145% tariffs, anything we used to come in at the US with value less than $800 used to come in duty free.
Yeah.
Cancel that for everything will come from China.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ralston, the Prime Minister said the dollar has been the most stable since 2016. Is that so?
Well, it depends on what we call stability. We believe that stability comes from your dollar is stable because you're importing and exporting, and your exports are more than your imports, so you have a balance. What we're seeing is that the Bank of Jamaica has to be intervening in the market almost every day in order to keep the dollar.
And last year, the Bank of Jamaica spent $1.1 billion
US dollars in it.
defending the dollar.
Jamaican, US.
How much we gone from this year, Ralston? Because last week, as you mentioned, was 90 million. How much we gone from the week?
We've gone about 200 million since the start of this year. But what the people might watch is not only the stabilization, not only have to do with the amount of US dollar we put in the market, it also have to do with the Jamaican dollar we take out of circulation, which should be financing investments, and we pay 6.5% on that money, and it is locked up in the vault.
So we're living on a false premise.
Yep, so we're losing. So don't just look at the US dollar intervention. Them also back it up with taking Jamaican money out of circulation.
To stop people from buying the dollar.
Correct.
So they are saying to you, instead of buying US dollars to shore up your money, don't buy the US dollars. Carry the money, come, we give you 6.5% interest.
Precisely. And we have to pay the interest on that out of taxes, although the economy is not growing.
Tell me, Ralston, the last time we spoke, you gave me what? 11 months of our food importation bill. Have we gotten the last month? Are we at 12 months now?
No, we don't get that yet. We're supposed to get that the end of this month.
So
it'll end up at about $2 billion.
$2 billion for food. What
US
about
dollars.
oil?
Yeah. Yep.
What about oil?
Oil is going to end up at about 2.1 billion.
So that's oil and food is 4.1 billion.
Yeah. And the raw material and capital goods, raw material and intermediate goods is another 2.2 billion. So
we're talking about
6.3.
$6.3 billion worth of import. And our total export?
No, but hold on. That's not just them big items. We also have imports. For the first 11 months, the import bill was $6.7 billion. We also import cars and capital goods.
Right.
Yeah.
And our export is?
1.72 billion for the first 11 months. So we run a trade deficit of 5 billion.
What we're getting from tourism now?
Tourism 1.76 billion. And remittances last year was 3.12. So between the two of them couldn't reduce the trade deficit. Those two came to 4.8 billion. And the trade for 1 year, listen to me. Those things were 4.8 billion for 1 year, and the trade deficit was 5 billion for 11 months. So you see how far behind we are.
No.
Listen again, 1 year's income from tourism and remittances couldn't cover 11 months of the trade deficit. Prime Minister not telling them something.
So we're in serious trouble, Jamaicans.
Of course.
We are in trouble.
So why did the dollar slide and the mafia buys after under pressure every day and try to stabilize it?
But
those are the figures.
But if we continue that way, Ralston, the net international reserve, which now stands at what, $5 billion?
$5 billion.
That is going to go down because isn't that what we are taking the money from to shore up the dollar?
We cannot continue like that, and we cannot continue to take the reserves and Jamaican dollar out of circulation. Then to kill the poor people. And remember, the money, the Jamaican dollar we are taking out of circulation is money that should be invested so that poor people can get work and the place can fix up and then think that.
And then we give away.
Continue.
And then the plan is to give away $12.4 billion, right?
Yep.
Isn't that the rent money we're partying with?
Of course, that is rubbish. And then look at it.
So
the man them in the coffee belt and say, yo, give away. First them said 200 million. Now them say things what happened with Trump. Coffee, you know, so them caps all coffee exports and them all them garbage.
That's what I understand. Spoke to Norman Grant last week or the week before.
Right. All right. So Grant I say, yo, from about 5 years when I asked the man them, give me $200 million per year and we can move coffee exports from 25 million to 100 million.
Yes, he told me
no,
that.
Because of what take place, I'm saying, all right, give it 350 million. Right? No, look at
350 million, hold on, 350 million
Jamaican dollar.
And the government is itching to invest that to get 100 million US?
US dollars. So you can't tell me the money I said. And they just give it 12.4 billion so man's will buy things where
right. So that Ralston, what is the benefit from that 12.4 billion? And people, if we said 12.4 billion, let me just tell you what it is. First, they gave away $11.4 billion to everybody earning under $3 million. And now there's a commitment to give away another $1 billion for people who they don't know, who not in the tax net. Anybody who never get none, just register and you will get $20,000. What is the benefit of that?
The money they buy imported track shoes, imported wigs.
Things are for Shein.
Have no value to the Jamaican economy.
So you are saying that when Favour Williams came to the parliament and said the PNP will party with the rent money, that was exactly what they were doing, partying with the rent money?
Of course. That's why I'm not telling about the stupidity. Yeah. So all the money there buy imported goods and put the dollar under pressure and put the country under more pressure. When you could have used it to earn more foreign exchange, fix up the farm road, them invest in the farmers, them, and you reduce the food import bill, you get more money from coffee. Yeah. I
want to go back to the coffee, Ralston, because right after you, I'm going to be talking to Councillor Hubert Williams, who said that farmers should be getting at least $22,000 a box for coffee. We saw Favour Williams rubbish that, and Cliff Hughes rubbished it. What would that benefit the farmers if the farmers could get anywhere even close to that $22,000 a box?
Well, it means that we'd have more coffee production. Coffee production job. Right now we're down to 240,000 boxes. The man and say if it did them, all of them things, they would have gone up to 490 to 500,000 boxes.
Because there was a time when we were at 500,000 boxes.
Correct. We're down to 240,000 boxes now. Them know not about the industry, so them can't speak. Favour Williams and Cliff Hughes can't speak logically to anything that take place. Because them know about the industry. Them not use no figures. And that's gut feeling and PR them a deal with. I deal with real hard numbers.
Ralston, I know you have to go. That's why we have you on so early this morning, because most of the people
Yeah,
just...
man, we can get another 15 months.
Yeah, man. All right. So talk to me now. The whole aspect, Ralston, of what Jamaica needs to do that we weren't doing. We talk about the debt to GDP at 68%, and the government is still insisting on bring it down to 60%. Tell me, the United States that we try to eliminate, what is their debt to GDP?
123%. The debt ceiling is $35 trillion, and Donald Trump wants to raise the debt ceiling so that they can borrow more.
So they are not even worried about even going up to 140%.
They're worried about recession.
China's debt to GDP, what is that?
200%.
200%.
Chinese economy grew by 5.4% in the first quarter, beating all the estimates.
Let's look at some of the countries who are close to us. What is Barbados' debt to GDP?
Barbados is about 97. Barbados grew by 4.4% last year.
Grenada
is almost 100% too. Them grow faster than us despite Hurricane Beryl.
So what I'm doing this to show you, my people, is that this argument about bringing down the debt so we can borrow more is really nonsensical.
That's why I'm telling you that she's the worst finance minister, because if you come in and say the economy in a recession, so the world, IMF and everybody project a slowdown or a recession, and then you say you are continuing with your policy that pushing a recession so that you can get an investment grade so that you can borrow more money, rather than say, boy, you have to accelerate growth so you can borrow less and take care of your people. This is a monumental exercise in stupidity, as Larissa was going to say.
So the government of Jamaica is not doing anything fast about production.
No.
And therefore, this is going to get worse.
Of course. Of course. Remember, as I say now, you export can't buy your food, let alone to buy oil, let alone to buy intermediate goods or raw materials.
My fear, Ralston, and I've been saying this to you, my fear is the government refusal to accept that the economy is in a recession.
Correct.
That is my biggest fear, because if you fail to accept the problem, then you won't seek any solution.
Precisely.
And therefore, what the Prime Minister does, goes on a stage, lambasts people like us who point out the reality to the people and call us false news whore and liars. No.
Yeah, but he can't say anything, because my numbers have never proven to be wrong, because we are using official data and international data. So he can't chat anything what he wants to chat, but he can't challenge the numbers. And every day I tell him, say, me give a whole week of real business to come and correct anything what I say and tell us your position. I never accept the invitation yet.
But how come, Ralston, we have a finance minister that refused to come out and take questions from...
Because she cannot manage the questions. That's the point I'm making to you. That's why I'm telling you that she's the worst finance minister we have ever had. She has very little knowledge about the economy, about international economics.
And I sent out a hat this morning that anybody who have a question, come with your question this morning. We want to
right
hear.
Now, we take all of them. Any one of them. Prime Minister, Minister Faval Williams, them greatest psychophants, any one of them.
Marlon Morgan, anybody.
Any one of them.
We want you to come this morning, because we are hurt when you come out and say we are telling lie. We're vexed, because we pride ourselves on speaking the truth, putting forward the data. And Ralston Iman always tell you, the data is at Statin, it's at the Bank of Jamaica, it's at the World Bank, it's at the IMF
website, it's at the World Bank, it's at IDB, because all of them man, they have information about Jamaica because of their relationships with Jamaica.
And therefore, we make ourselves available to basically rebut or to stand firm with the arguments that we are putting forward. Now, Ralston, they are saying that we are at the lowest unemployment ever. How come that is not benefiting the country? How come we don't see production growing? Talk to me.
Simple. Because our labor force is not properly trained and they are not doing any value-added work. As Statin told us.
You know, I have a problem. Go finish that. Finish that.
335,000 are almost 1/3 of the people who are working are people who are walk up and down and sell. If you go up on the road, they will sell them today. People are wash their glass, the man walk up and down and sell a little rag, a little this, a little that. All those goods are imported, so that is adding no value to the economy. Then we have 255,000 persons. You are getting the latest labor force survey for January. 255,000 people are working on the wholesale, then, but the Chinese them control all them goods that come from China, and they might get minimum wage because they're not adding no value. You have 182,000 people who are farm on 5-acre land, basically subsistence farming. So all them things now had no value to the economy. You have another 158,000 people are working at BPO and I sell the $40 million house to a bill we can't move. That is the composition of the country's labor force. So it now had no value.
Ralston, you
Data
talk.
they are starting. They just released it last week. So anybody who want to know can go up on the starting website and see. Labor force survey, January.
Hold on, 9201. Anybody want to ask Ralston a question? You'll have to call me by WhatsApp. Call me at 202-9201. That's 876-202-9201 if you have a question for Ralston. Ralston, I have a problem with people saying that our workforce is not trained. The question I have for you, do we have jobs for skilled people in Jamaica? Do we have these jobs available?
Well, that is part of the problem. So, because we're not investing in particular industries, high-value industries, the people who have high-value qualifications, then go to the World Bank tells us that the amount of people, high-skilled people that have migrated from Jamaica is now 400,000, moving from 91,000 in 1980 to 400,000. World Bank just released that last week.
That's my quest. That's my argument, Ralston. That's why when I hear people talking about the Jamaican economy, we need to upskill our people, upskill them and where they work there. Do we have the jobs for these people when you're talking about?
Most of the people have a university, then those are glad to graduate to take the next plane. Now, that's the point I'm making. What Donald is doing is now creating an opportunity for us. Yeah, because it's harder to migrate go to the US to work now, so we need to create some industries for them. So the man them not even see the opportunities that the Donald present with his stupid policies.
So that is the opportunity that we need to look at.
Right.
If we're really serious about
man,
capitalizing on what is happening.
Yep.
No. So when we're talking about upskill, somebody called me last week and they also told us that a lot of people from the Dominican Republic and Colombia are here in Jamaica taking up some of the high-paying jobs. How so?
Yep. Within the hotel industry, because what Bartlett is a marketer and not a negotiator. So we just beg the man them to come here. When them come here, them just do as them like. Most of those people are working in the hotel sector.
And getting the higher paying jobs, don't they?
Yeah, man. Because we don't put no restrictions on them. We don't negotiate nothing.
So if we are exporting, 400,000 skilled workers, you are saying?
Yeah.
If we create the jobs in Jamaica, then we could keep those.
Right, and they would go away. So what the World Bank has said, two things the World Bank said. You need to create the jobs, or the World Bank has said, I think we need for them. You need to come with an arrangement with the countries them where take care of people. Say, help us to train all our people. So when you take X amount, we still have X amount of continuous training. Get the US or whoever them are going to help you to fund the training programs so that you constantly have a flow of professional and skilled people.
Are you worried that we might start losing some of these jobs, Ralston, in terms of the low unemployment that we have?
Yeah, man, we will have unemployment. The people tell you, based on what is happening in the world, that's when I respond, people will start lose work. So, for example, when the prices them raise and demand fall because consumers don't have the money, it means that firms have to start cut them workforce and them things. So down the road, within months you'll start to the unemployment.
Once again,
get laid off.
Once again, if you have a question and you want to ask Ralston directly, 876-202-9201, just for this program, just for this time. That's 876-202-9201. Christopher Campbell is asking, Colin asks Ralston, what will AI do to, what will AI do to the call center industry?
Well, it is going to have a negative impact if we do not have the trained people in that regard. And not only because of AI, the trade war, which slows down business and slowing down the American economy and the world economy, is going to lead to less demand for work in that industry. Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. Morning.
Good morning, Colin. Good morning, Ralston. My question
Morning.
is, so when the Prime Minister come out on the platform to say that the economy is in good standing and the economy can yam, is he sending out misinformation?
Yeah, he's sending out misinformation because if you look at the economy, if you look at, take for example, the rural areas, look at what is happening in agriculture. You see the problems if you look at the fact that the country is not exporting enough to pay for the goods and services that we consume. Our total exports for the first 11 months was 1.7 billion, but just for the 1.9 billion. So the total money that we earned from merchandise exports could not buy the food. When we look at the money, we normally use the money from tourism and remittances to pay for those things. When we look at the money that we came in from remittances and tourism, we still had to find another 200-300 million US from what we earned in order to pay for those things. So it can be in a good position if you can't pay your bills with the rest of the world, a country like Jamaica that imports so much.
So is it that he's playing mind game on the Jamaican people to think that everything is in order, everything is okay?
Of course, that's what he's doing.
All right.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
I could give somebody
That's
else
what
a chance.
he's doing, yeah.
It's 876-202-9201. Don't call me on the 804 right now. That's the line Ralston is on. So I won't take no calls on that because he wouldn't be able to hear you. So if you have a call and if you have a question and you want to bring it to Ralston directly, call me at 876-202-9201. But you have to call on WhatsApp. You can't call me straight. There's another question in the chat room. Why are we negotiating the same way as the government did with the bauxite years ago? I don't know if you understand that, Ralston.
No, I don't understand, but what is stupidity? What the reason why I tell you that Save Williams is the worst finance minister? One thing she said in her budget presentation was that when Michael Manley messed up the country, because when Michael Manley came up with the bauxite levy in 1974, it resulted in the bauxite and alumina companies leaving the country. If you notice, every budget that them present, they have to take money from the Capital Development Fund. You know where the Capital Development Fund came from? The bauxite and alumina levy. Now, when they came in now, they are saying that they are not going to have any levy. What they have now is a profit sharing agreement with the bauxite and alumina companies. You will never know how much money those companies make because of what we call transfer pricing. So that's a part of the total nonsense that she said in the budget debate. So right now in this year's budget, they are drawing $812 million from the Capital Development Fund. That is why every morning on the program, I repeat it and tell the people the Capital Development Fund came from the bauxite and alumina levy that Michael Manley was so visionary to implement in 1974. So in 2025, they are still taking money from something that was implemented by Manley in 1974 to help fund the budget, yet she's telling the people that it was a bad thing.
So they're still taking money from the PNP saving pan.
Yep.
Andrew Miller says, my question, Colin, is ask Ralston, how are we going to reverse the recession that we are now in?
All right. You want to reverse the recession?
Yes.
First, you have to do the energy. Cut the price of energy. If we cut the cost of energy by even 10% or 15%, Jamaica would be more competitive. Not for the things that we import. We would have to import them. I would have created good paying jobs. You follow me? I would have saved more foreign exchange. That's a one. Two, invest more in agriculture. If you invest more in agriculture, you'll cut the food import bill. What I think that Mark Golden said, man, is I plan to reduce the food import bill by 25. What I think that Mark Golden said, man, is I plan to reduce the food import bill by 25% every year. 25% out of the food import bill will be $500 million US.
Big cut.
Yeah? So we have a whole lot of money. We don't have to run up and down and take Jamaican out of circulation to stabilize the dollar and all of that nonsense. Next thing, you will invest more in the country's labor force. Yeah? training and all of those things, provide incentives for the private sector to invest in training and all of those things. Those are things that we need to come from out of the recession. Come out of the recession, you need to invest more in agriculture, energy, your people, road network, transportation.
We have a call on the line. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Speak up.
Yeah. Because I think I saw a clip by the Prime Minister, and he said, if you purchase the land from the NHT and you keep it, and you have it and don't do develop on it, they're gonna take it back. Is that true?
No, it's not the NHTs. Down at the thing that they must start up, the logistics area.
Yeah, man. I will agree with him on that. If you take the land, you have to invest in the land. When I get the land to sit down idle, that's what Jamaica's biggest problem. We have too much idle land. Another thing, to come out of the recession, we have to have, this is something where Michael and Manley have talked about from a long time, accelerated land reform and land titling. We have too much idle land. Yeah? When you have land and idle and you have no title, it's dead capital. Yeah? So we have to deal with that. Next thing, Colin, DBJ. We have to find a way to accelerate the process of getting people to access capital from the Development Bank of Jamaica. Because no matter how much money you put in there, the money has to give back at the end of the time because
people
the
can't
requirements
access
are
it.
too onerous for the people.
All right. Go ahead, caller. Morning.
Morning. Yeah, the question to Ralston is probably a follow-up question that you had to ask, but I just need some clarification. We're talking about the unemployment rate, or it has been very low, right?
Yeah.
And you made mention of the high the value added employment, and Ralston says that those employment is going into the tourist industry. So what I need clarification about, these university students that are leaving Jamaica with whatever field they are in, there are no jobs in Jamaica for their particular field that they're in while they're still living. So is it that other persons are getting, whether engineer, accounting, whichever field, apart from those from in the hotel industries, those other fields, there are no other jobs advertised in Jamaica that we have some professional Jamaicans with good qualifications. They leave.
So caller, hold on. Ralston have a limited amount of time. So if you want to make a statement, I suggest you call me back and make the statement. But the question is, is there jobs for these people that are leaving in Jamaica? Is that the question?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Ralston.
Right. Well, there's a shortage of jobs for them. That's A. B, it's difficult for them to own a house. C, the whole environment in terms of criminality and those things. Those things are things that drive them to go to New York and those places because it's difficult to find a job in Jamaica. Even if them get a job in Jamaica, the pay is so low, them can't buy a house. Yeah? And that is one of the reasons why them leave, because them, so when them go foreign, it's easier. Them go up there, them get a job, them get them credit, them buy them car, and then buy them house, and them feel like them safer. Simple.
Somebody's asking, can we stop mining in Jamaica?
No, we can't stop it at this particular point in time because it's still a very important thing to the economy. But we have to regulate it better and we have to develop alternatives so that when they come, we can shut it down. But we can't shut it down right now because mining still provide like 500 million out of the total export.
And that's US dollars.
US dollars, yeah, man.
How can we cut electricity bill if no national investment in solar and wind power?
That's the point I'm making. That is why I'm telling that dealing with energy is a priority if we're going to reduce the cost of doing business and have a more efficient economy. And this administration has done nothing about energy for the last 10 years.
Ralston, would you support the DBJ lending straight to the end user and bypass the commercial banks?
Yeah, that would be a good policy, but because this government is following what the IMF tell them to do and the World Bank tell them to do, they haven't done that. Yep. But that would be a better situation. People would get access to cheaper capital because the approved financial institutions, the commercial banks, they had their margins to it and their strictures to it. As a result of that, the people can't get the DBJ money. Yeah.
Are we over-relying on tourism, on the tourism industry
Yeah, man.
If no tourists come to Jamaica, what would happen to the economy?
Yeah, man, we are rely on the tourism industry, and the tourism industry is not fully integrated. So if when we bring the tourists them come here, we would be the ones who are selling them the food, and we'll be the ones who are making the hotels, and we're the one who be supplying the cement, or we're the one who is supplying the blocks, or we're the one who be building out all of the infrastructure. Then it would benefit us. But right now, tourism is just an in-out. Only 40 cents remain here, and that's a big problem.
Only 40 cents. Ask Ralston if the country is oversaturated with hotels that had no additional value, no additional income. I don't know the question.
Yeah, that caller is correct. Yeah, man.
All right.
And the value of it is too low. 40 cents. Downbreak gets 60 cents and 65%. Yeah.
And we're getting
He's
40
right.
cents, only 40 cents stay with all.
Yeah, yeah. So when Bartlett said about $4.3 million, is $1.76 billion, because only 40% of that stay in Jamaica, and then we pay the cheap wages.
Is tourism down last year, Ralston?
Yeah.
Tourism was down last year.
And this is going to go down even further because the policies that Donald Trump is pursuing that is going to make the American people poor. Less people are going to be willing to travel. Similarly, in terms of the remittances, a lot of people are hiding. But the Lord Steve Wright told you last week that because of the situation in relation to green card holders, many people are afraid to travel. And as a result of that is having a negative impact on the tourism industry.
Ralston, would you support a clearinghouse facility for credit unions?
Yeah, man, a long time me advocate for that personally because although the Bank of Jamaica will regulate the credit unions, they have different rules for the credit union than the banks. Every credit union has to clear to a bank. And that adds to the interest rate, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man, they never know that.
No, I know that, but I never understand it.
If you get a check from COK or NCB, you have to deal with it. Yeah, right.
So you want the credit union basically to operate as a commercial bank? Is that what you're saying?
No, not as a commercial bank, but as a competition to the commercial bank. It's difficult for them to compete with the commercial bank, so because everything with them you have to go through a bank.
All right. Finally, Ralston, anything you want to add before you leave us? We'll let you go.
Well, what we are saying is that what is happening in the global economy, the trade war between the US, China, European Union, is going to result in a slowdown of the global economy.
Yes.
The tariffs imposed by Donald Trump is going to affect everything that is coming in Jamaica, and it's going to affect everything that is going out of Jamaica. So the cost of production in Jamaica is going to increase. And then when you want to sell to America, you have to pay an additional 10% tariff on it, which is going to make you uncompetitive. So what Jamaica needs to do now is to diversify its trading partners and its production base. Jamaica needs to deal more with CARICOM. Jamaica needs to deal more with Latin America. Jamaica needs to deal more directly with China, not coming through this, directly with China, Africa, and those places. And we need to focus on the energy industry. We need to focus on the agricultural sector. We need to focus more on training our people, yeah? And we need to look more at, man used to call it indigenous raw materials, because it's difficult for you to be importing 90% of what you need for the production. Man can just lock you off.
Yeah, easy.
Because this thing between China and America can lead to a real war, because Xi Jinping said ready for any kind of war.
Any kind of war.
So what happened to you if the war starts?
And we never learn anything from COVID.
You get the point. Although Nigel Clark appointed this big COVID commission with people from all about. We never learned anything from COVID. You know what happened yesterday? Xi Jinping was all over Asia signing trade deals this week. He's going to Europe tomorrow. That's Monday. You know what China does? China controls 92% of the rare earth market. Without rare earth, phone can't work, military equipment can't work, and China said them not send them more data to the US.
So they're locking down all the chip and all them things from US.
Okay. All of them technological gadgets. You talk about digital economy. Digital economy can't work without rare earth. And China have a lock on rare earth, 92%. And then so they're not sending them more to the USA. So check out that. A big problem.
Before I let you go, Ralston, I listened to Desmond McKenzie in the Parliament, and I listened to Tom Tavares Finson at Portmore Sunday night. and hold on. They were bragging about the failure of federation that they caused.
Yeah.
What would it be like if we had federation, the Caribbean operating as one united Caribbean, one country, one flag? What kind of, would that be benefiting us now? Would we be in a better position?
When Michael Manley, Eric Williams, Errol Barrow, and those people signed the Treaty of Chagaramos, it was about having the CARICOM, just like how you say Europe function, as a single economic space.
Yes.
So it means when Marco Rubio come here, he will come talk to Jamaica alone. He will have to talk to CARICOM as a single economic space. That would give us more bargaining power. Man like Richard Pandoy from SEPRA, they might understand the concept, and that is why it's SEPRA max out of the Caribbean. Because when you do that, it costs you less to produce because you produce for a bigger market rather than a smaller market. So it'll be more efficient and will be more able to compete with the rest of the world, not only in terms of economy and trade, but in terms of politics. Yeah? So it'll be stronger and we'll be better off. Free movement of people all over the region, so it will be one region. So it would be a win-win situation. Yeah. Right now, as you hear them both, JLP not interested in that CARICOM, and that is one of the big problems. So if you notice, the other CARICOM leaders, me and them people that have a position as to how to deal with current situation. Jamaica has no position.
So the GLP administration has never been an administration that hug up CARICOM.
Yep. So them all about the region and all about the country. They bust them on to say the position, them always with the West. So whatever America do right now, in the world, if you notice Marco Rubio said, Jamaica are the only country of the Caribbean that is of like mind like the US. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing because the US is becoming isolated globally now. You know them friends in Europe, you know them friends in Canada. You know why Donald Trump paused the 90-day something the other day for 90 days? Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, who's one of the world's greatest central banker, coordinated with Christine Lagarde and them started selling US treasuries. US have 28 billion in treasuries, yeah? Between Europe and Canada, them owe like 8 trillion. Xi Jinping have 760 billion. That's the next thing China will start to dump US treasuries. You hear me? So this thing is more than they were projected to be, yeah? That is what them use. That's why you hear Donald say, boy, the bond market get yippy because without those bonds, yeah?
Them have problems.
US can't function. So this thing is going to get worse.
And there's a saying that says when the elephant play, the grass get trampled. China, US, EU, Canada, they are the elephant. What happened to Japan in all of this, Ralston?
Yeah, man, Japan is part of the elephant too. Yeah, Japan will have $1 trillion in US treasury. US have 28 trillion treasury that are part of the debt. The debt are 35 trillion, and between 2-year and 10-year bonds are $28 trillion. America can't function without that. So once the man them start selling them things, and that happen right now. And this thing is going to get worse because you what now? Donald Trump has tried to fire Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Yes, that's the next thing.
So next week, you'll see a bigger sell-off if he successfully gets to fire Powell. Remember that. That's I'm telling them people are know where I'm going. Poor people, they don't have a clue about how them things are all the world.
Somebody earlier in the chat room mentioned food security.
Yep.
What is that going to look like in Jamaica if all of this happen, we don't start feeding ourselves?
That's the point I make, Colin. We are going to suffer. That's the point I'm making. We're talking a straight language because you import 2 billion worth of your food and that's fine for your own farmer. Another thing, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. In the midst of the trade war, where everybody imports tariffs, she go to the parliament and said, oh, Madam Speaker, we need to reduce the GCT on imported food by 15%.
Not reduce it, move it totally. Move the GCT from imported food.
This is a mad man. Come on, man. You have confidence in them people like Colin. It's a joke, man.
No, I have no confidence, but I want Jamaica and the world to hear that Jamaica is not in good hands. We are in shake. Yep. In fact, we are in the hands of people who have Alzheimer's, who are shake like leaf.
Yeah, man. We can't have fear around the Minister of Finance. As Larry Summers said, how can a statement that is so ludicrous be made by someone with such authority? No, man, we have to get serious, man. Anything can't work, brother.
Ralston, we chat again very soon. When I stay so long this time to talk because this is serious. And the problem is we have a prime minister who is telling people that we are okay. Jamaicans.
Yeah, and then they have the worst finance minister.
We are not. Okay, Ralston, enjoy your Easter holiday, my brother. We'll hear you on Tuesday morning. One love.
Yeah, man.
Blessed
love. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Listeners and viewers, that was the top financial analyst in Jamaica. I mean, I'll talk about no one-off. Ralston Iman is the top financial analyst in Jamaica. Like him or not like him. And I challenge all the naysayers. Forget who we are. Challenge our argument. It is our argument that we put out on a Saturday morning. Not our faces. Our argument. That's what we put out there. And that is why we say come challenge we. That is why we say to people in Port Antonio and Portland who are talking about building an urban center, we say build the East Harbour because we're looking for new money. I have to apologize to Hubert Williams. I'd planned to bring him on at 9:35. And because Ralston gave us, and he was calling us at 9:35. But Ralston gave us a little more time. So we're still trying to get Hubert Williams to talk to us about coffee. Because these are the things that we have to start focusing on. We have to start focusing on exporting more, earning more US dollar to keep the dollar stable, instead of spending the rent money to shore up the US dollar. Because that is what Fieval Williams and Andrew Holness, they are doing. They are squandering the rent money and then come tell you, say, be careful of PNP because PNP are going to squander the rent money. They are the ones who are squandering the rent money. We do this because we love Jamaica, not because we love PNP party or GLP party. Let's open the phone lines until we get Hubert Williams. Some people was calling on the 804. And I told you we had Ralston on that line, so we wouldn't be taking calls on that line. But now that line is open. 804-7072. Give us a call. You heard the facts laid out this morning. And that's what we have to do. We have to tell you the truth about the health of the Jamaican economy. We have to tell you the truth. We can't do like them because them not put nothing upon them reputation. That is what we have, our reputation. And you remember, I came on this program, I think it was one Wednesday evening, and I told you all about the chicken that came in the container of Aelsha. And I told you that I had a dream that it was reported that the container fell overboard. And you heard a man from Coast Guard came and say yes.
Hello?
Talk to me, caller. Morning.
So, Colin, I was listening to Ralston, right? And I want to ask you a question, right?
Yeah, man.
These information that he has, I'm sure that the public is listening, and a lot of the GLP trolls and all of these persons is listening also. Is it that there's something inherently wrong with the Prime Minister when it comes to telling the truth, or is it that it's further political capital that he will lose if he should tell the country that this is the situation we are trying to do? Which is better? It's like kill me with a lie or tell me the truth.
Hold on for me, caller. Hold on. 804-7072. Good evening. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Hold the line. I'll come back to you. Yeah, my brother. Finish up.
Yeah, it's like...
I would say what KD Knight said about Bruce Golding is pathologically mendacious.
So when them come out and say the economy is strong and we are still... Do you know that the US dollar don't have its true value?
I know. Yes.
Because the US dollar made about 250 to 1 now. Because if the Bank of Jamaica continue to put in this kind of money to keep it at 159, 160, the true value of the US dollar is not strong now.
Last year, 2024, and this is the figure from the Bank of Jamaica. The Jamaican bank or the Jamaican government spent 1.1 billion US dollars. That's 161 million. That's 161 billion Jamaican dollars to defend our dollar against the US dollar.
So
2023, hold on, 2023, we spent about 900 million defending the Jamaican dollar against the US. Tell the Prime Minister to come and say that's a lie.
So my thing is the problem that I have right now. The problem. You hear me?
Yeah, man, loud and clear.
Yeah. The problem that I have right now is this. Is when them come out and spew this narrative right now. Say the economy is this, the economy is that, and we're not seeing it. We're not seeing much clear to where they are saying. Because if you have so much achievement, up to now, right now, I'm listening to their campaign, and all me them are criticize what PNP did 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. You know, 10-year achievement, you are promising. You're supposed to have these things in impact. And I said, well, this is where it is. But I think it's political capital. He's afraid to lose because he's not telling the people the truth. And there's a lot of persons who's gullible enough because of partisan bias and all of these things.
And let me tell you something. They are trying to shut down programs like these. They are trying to shut down people like me. Yeah? Because they don't want us to talk the truth. They want to hide the truth from the youth.
You know the problem I have? I'm going to tell you the truth. The problem that I have with a lot of persons who call themselves educated, and I can call a few of them. You know, the George Jeffers, Nationwide, Nadine Spence, the brother was saying my economist, Dennis Chung. Never ask them a question. Is it that they feel like said the GLP government is going to be in power for a lifetime? Is it that is that they are so blinded by color? They are so blind that they can't look and say, boy, talk silently to Mr. Prime Minister, this now go this way. Change the road course where you take. Instead of them come out and try different it. It's like I try different a lie.
So what is going to happen? They are going to crash the economy like they did it in 2008, 2000 to 2011. Yeah, man. But we have a caller holding. Here we talk. Oh, him gone. All right, let's give somebody else a chance. Big up yourself. 876-804-7072. Wilson, call me back. I was just about to come to you, my brother. Yeah, so let me tell you something. They are trying to hide the truth. They are doing everything that they can to silence Colin Bell. But let me tell you something. Me need to forget no slap when me born. Me come out of my mother belly crying. Yeah? And I pray to the Almighty God and ask him to use me as him loudspeaker to speak through me. And that's why we can only speak the truth. If we say something and it's not the truth, we never know. And if we know, if we found out that we say something that is not true, we are ready to come back and make right. Because that's what we pride this platform on. Speaking the truth and nothing but the truth. So, my people, understand where we are. Jamaica first, then Portland. Yeah? Then any political preferences after. We have to put Jamaica first. And when we see the country not going in the right direction, yeah, sorry about that, my brother. You ready? Hold on. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Bell. Good morning.
Yeah, man. Hold on for me, caller. Hold on. Can we get Sir Williams now where we're supposed to talk to from 9:35, and that was my fault. Why we never get to him. So let me get him on the line. Merge that. Hold on for me, Willie.
No problem.
Hold on for me. We're coming right back to you. Let me just take this call and go right back to Sir Williams. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Mr. Bill. You see, I don't think anybody need to look any further than in the supermarket to see how well the economy is, you know.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Because let me tell you something. It's the first time in my life me see me a 68-year-old, I go 69, and I never see so much trolley half loaded around the cashier area, because when the people them go in and pick up the goods, you hardly see price on the items on the shelf anymore.
Yes.
So when people pick up and go up to the cashier and think that them have money to pay for it, when them got the little money what they have in their pocket, can go pay for a few items in the trolley. So they have to just pick out the most important one what them want and leave the trolley load. Nowadays, when the supermarket them close, I mean I talk about especially in a Falmouth where me come from. When you look, you know, and see all 10 o'clock after 11 o'clock, the workers still lock up in the supermarket and reshelf.
Yes, yes.
You understand me?
My
So
brother,
this,
I'm going to beg you a few minutes because I have Councillor Williams holding a long time.
Yeah. And I want Williams this too, you know.
Yeah, man. So make we hold on, listen to Councillor Williams because we have to talk about coffee. We have to talk about
me I go listen to Councillor Williams, you know. All right.
Willie, morning. Let me apologize to you for the delay. Willie.
Good morning, Mr. Bill.
Yeah, man. Let me apologize to you for the delay. We were supposed to talk to you at 9:35, but we had on Ralston for an extended period because we had to show the people the problem with this economy that the Prime Minister is saying can yam. And this economy will choke everybody. But we want to talk to you about coffee. We saw the Minister of Finance over in Portmore criticizing your stand that coffee farmers should get $22,000 a box. What say you?
All right. Good morning to your listeners again. I want to make it clear. The finance minister and the Jamaica Labour Party clearly understand what is going on in the coffee business. Because it's hurting them. That's why they're talking about it.
Yes.
Clearly. I'm going to say this. They're part of the system that issue out the unfair treatment to our farmers.
So you're saying that this Andrew Holness-led administration is a part of the system that is giving out the unfair treatment to our coffee farmers?
Yes, because let me tell you something. Most of the traders who are in the business, they are big people in the Jamaica Labour Party.
What you saying?
Look at a person like Shirley, who was on the interview the other day with myself and Cliff Hughes. Remember, no, his father is a farmer, member of parliament.
For Western Portland.
For the Jamaica Labour Party.
For Western Portland.
And a treasurer of the Jamaica Labour Party, you know. So these guys are top rank GLP activists.
Talk to me.
I want to say this though. One problem that we have, the main problem that we have in the coffee thing, is that we have a cartel running the coffee thing.
Yeah.
As in terms of buying the coffee. And may you know, even in free market, whenever you have a cartel, the cartel will determine the price. So at the start of the buying season, they put themselves together and determine the price of coffee. So remember again, as I said all the time,
so hold on.
Cannot be sold
hold on, Willie.
A coronation market.
Hold on, Willie.
So whatever.
So you're saying coffee is not determined by the price of coffee on the world market. It's the no. It is decided before by the people who are buying.
Yes. Let me make it simple. Let me give you an example. So OPEC is the body that determines oil price because they're a cartel of oil producing nation. You know. It's the same way these coffee traders team up, come together, form a cartel and determine oil price, coffee price. Let me look at this. From 2016 to now, coffee price has doubled on the world market. But because of the cartel that we have here, our farmers don't see the double in terms of income. Remember 2016, coffee was selling for 14 to 16,000 dollars a box. I'm thinking to Blue Mountain coffee.
Yes.
Because that's what is a benchmark
Blue
for
Mountain
Jamaican
coffee. Yeah.
So in 2016, coffee range between 14 to 16,000 dollars a box. Coffee price globally has doubled since, and yet still our farmers see a decline in what they are receiving per box of coffee instead of a double increase. So farmers really should be getting 32,000.
How much?
You understand? If you look at it that way,
How
if you
much?
look at it that way, it should be between 26 to 32,000. Yes, and that the coffee price double.
Yeah,
Let me show you something.
Talk to me.
Jamaica sell about 50 million US dollars worth of coffee last year. And if you look on their website now, they're saying that demand is projected to increase by 5% for the next 10 years. So that speaks to the demand. No, any industry, and have a 5% increase in demand annually. It's a serious demand.
We spoke to Norman Grant, I think a week or 2 weeks ago. And he told us that what we are exporting is about $25 million worth. But we could go up to $100 million if the government invests more in coffee.
They plan it there, yeah. They say they can go up to 100. But it's not 25 million that was exported last year. If you look on the website, I look at it up to yesterday. And they're saying 50 million.
So are you still confident after that speech in St. Thomas about the $22,000? Are you still confident after all the criticism? I am sure you'd have gone back and do some more research that $22,000 a box, and you just said a while ago, really they should be getting between 26 and 32,000. But are you still confident that $22,000 a box is still possible?
Mr. Bell, after I go back and do a lot more research, because what I know now about coffee, what I know then was a joke. And let me tell you something. When I say 22,000, I say to myself, no, I am being very conservative.
Talk to me.
Maybe too conservative. So, let me tell you, let me just explain something. That 5% growth per year speaks to demand.
Yes.
Based on the law of supply and demand. Whenever we see demand going up, we're supposed to see an increase in price.
Yes, that's logical.
Look at it. The global coffee market is about $245 billion US.
Yeah.
They're saying in the next 8 years, by 2033, that market is going to grow by another $120 billion US.
Talk to me.
Show the growth. We are talking about 48%, over an 8-year period, So we are talking about a 6% growth per annum, Similar to what Jamaica said, Jamaica coffee is supposed to go about 5% per annum. So when we look at that, it is clear that these guys are making a lot of money. Let me tell you something. Starbucks last year made $9 billion. Not million, with a $9 billion US profit for the year.
So Willie.
And we are talking about Starbucks carry premium coffee.
So Willie, hold on. Before I ask you the question, I want to read something in the chat room. Sandra Richard Samuels, she said, I don't consume coffee. However, when I buy an 8-ounce bottle of Blue Mountain coffee in the United States, the price is $40 US for an 8-ounce soft pound.
Yeah.
Tell me, Willie, how you gonna get our farmers to that level that they are gonna earn that $22,000?
All right, let me tell you, and that's an excellent question. Two things that we have to look at. Two main things. The first one, we have to break up the cartel that we have now. We have to, and we're going to break it up not by stopping their livelihood, simply by adding more buyers in the market. So there will be more competition in the market. Also, JACRA, the regulatory body for coffee, they need to set a benchmark price for the farmers. They have to start to look out for the farmers because they are the regulators and the industry going to come apart, going to mash up in a plain Jamaican term. If we don't do that, remember, we were boots in our boat in the early 2000s, even 2016. We had maybe about 5,000 coffee farmers.
And what we have
No,
now?
we have 5,000 coffee farmers.
Because the price went down to $3,000 a box. That's why a lot of people throw it up.
Walk away, leave the farm.
Yes.
Walk away, literally walk away. No, if we increase coffee price right now, you're going to find a lot of people going to go back and pull up and coffee, clean up and coffee, and start to be the fertilizer and coffee. I move the thing forward again. I'm going to say this. There's another problem in our coffee business.
Tell me.
That we have to blame this one on leadership. For 100 years, we have been exporting coffee the same way.
Oh.
Meaning,
wow. Hold on. Say that again. Say that again, Willie.
For the last 100 years, we have been exporting coffee the same way. Meaning, little or no value added have done to the Jamaican Blue Mountain tea coffee from our side.
So the Japanese makes more money from our coffee than we do.
Of course, the Japanese will tell you, that they can use $38 million US dollars out of Jamaican coffee and turn it into $500 million US dollars. You hear me, sir?
So
take it from 38 to 500.
So it's not the producers of the coffee that is making the money. It is the end people who makes the money.
Yes, but the thing about it, if the product is ours, if we are producing the raw material,
yes,
why we can't process it into the end product, into value-added product?
All right, so
and make bigger box.
So you mentioned that for the last 100 years we've been exporting coffee the same way. What are the changes you are proposing?
Repeat the question again, Mr.
You just told us that for the last 100 years we've been exporting coffee the same way. What are the changes you are proposing?
My change is to process our coffee into value-added products.
Right.
Like example, cappuccino, latte, mocha. You can have skincare products. A lot of dietary products being built now from derived from coffee. We need to go into those stuff. We're going to produce jobs by doing that, and at the end of the day, we're going to make more money out of the product, and so more money will be there to be circulated.
So we are exporting actually green beans. I don't remember if it was Sir Fulton or Senator Grant, I asked, why is it that we are not roasting our coffee? And I'm asking you.
Let me say something. And even after roasting the coffee, there are so much products to be derived from it. So where are we on the coffee food here? Where are our farmers on the coffee food here? Look at this, Mr. Bell. You don't believe that when it comes to the green beans or roasted beans, you don't believe our farmers do at least 16 to 18% of it.
Of course. Why not?
It's only fair to our farmers are like 18%. They're not asking them to give 50%, 40% of that. I'm in the processing of cassava. And I can tell you, my raw material cost me $35, 35%, sorry, 35%.
Yeah. That's
so what I'm saying, 18% of it, it's only fair enough for farmers.
Well, what is obvious to me, Willie, is that the Jamaica Labour Party does not value our farmers. And that's why instead of sitting down and looking if what you are saying is possible, they are ready to come out publicly and lambast you.
Yeah. And the Jamaican farmers We need to look at who is defending them, who is fighting for them, versus who is against them, who's fighting against them. And let me tell you something. The whole thing, we have to call a spade, and I wonder with me, I can't be a hypocrite. All that is going on now fit into the model of governance that the Jamaica Labour Party produced. You have to remember, they are vulture capitalists. So they believe to make the rich richer. That's all they're about, because that's what is going on in the capital. The buyers, they are driving the fanciest car, the biggest pickup, living the best lives, live at the best places in Jamaica. But our farmers live like peasants. They live in poverty.
Time come.
They can't sit around the table and break bread with their family. They can't send their kids to school. They're still using donkey instead of four-wheel vehicle. Four-wheel drive vehicle. I am telling you, it is really sad what our farmers is facing today. And I can tell you something, Mr. Bell. I'm going to be the voice for voiceless farmers.
And we're going to hold you to that, We are asking the people of Western St. Thomas to give you the job to defend the farmers, not just in Western St. Thomas, but to defend the farmers in Jamaica, the coffee farmers in West Portland, in East Portland, in St. Andrew, in St. Thomas, because this is the first time I have heard any politician coming out and defending the coffee farmers the way that you are. And I am begging the people of Western St. Thomas, send this man to the parliament and make we hold him feet to the fire. But the thing I know about Willie, that's why I'm so confident, is that Willie is a man who push up his chest and is not afraid to go out there and defend what he believes in. And I am saying to you, give this man the opportunity.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, Mr. Ben. The people at St. Thomas, not even just Western St. Thomas, the people at St. Thomas know that I'm the performance boss. And they know that I will get the job done because I have a track record.
Yes. And they saw it when you became mayor for the short time. Work was done in St. Thomas.
A lot of work was done. You witnessed, you came to St. Thomas and be a part of some of my handiwork.
Yes,
so you know exactly what I'm doing. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm fighting not only for the people of Western St. Thomas, but all the coffee farmers in Jamaica.
Yes.
Because I will be coming to West Portland very soon to deal with those farmers, to let those farmers understand that changes on the way. They're going to get good money for their coffee. I'm going to go to East Rural as well and let the coffee farmers of East Rural St. Andrew know that changes on the way. Help is coming. And not only that, we're going to give them a better price for their coffee or ensure that they get a better price for the coffee. What we're going to do, we're going to get their farms up and running. We're going to help them with the inputs that they need to get it. And I'm going to tell you where we're going to get the money. We're going to allocate 1% of the importation tax in this country. We're going to take it and put it aside as an agricultural development fund. And that's going to equate to about $2.5 billion per annum.
I just spoke to Ralston a while ago, and we did talk about coffee. And he told me that Norman Grant has been asking the government for 2-point-something million, but he has now upped it to 350 million US. 350 million Jamaican dollars to the coffee farmers. Will you ensure that a PNP government put that money into coffee, 350 million Jamaican?
We want to put more than that because we understand that the Jamaican farmers going to make so much money when we give them the right investment in coffee. Let me tell you something. This is a global product. The only product that we export more than coffee, in Jamaica is yam. Yam is the only product we export more than coffee. But let me tell you something. None of them have the value that coffee have on the global market.
And we have not maximized our potential on coffee. Time comes.
Look at this, Mr. Ben. Japan, that we sell more than 85% of our coffee. It's the fourth biggest consumer of coffee. We have market like the Americans. The
Well-
US market, which is the biggest market.
Well, when I
We are
talk,
market
when I spoke to
we are the-
Norman Grant, he said to me that 70% of the coffee go to Japan, 20% go to the US, and 10% go to others. Now it is rather strange that you are saying to us that Japan is the fourth. So why we not in number 1, number 2, and number 3 bigger?
all right, hold on.
And hold on. And that is how we can get more money for our farmers.
Of course. Well, let me say this to you, Sir Bell. With all the respect to Mr. Grant, I can bet you and I can give you back change, pay and give back change. US don't get 20% of our coffee. Go and do the research, Jamaican people. US don't get US get a very small, maybe US get about 5 to 8% of our coffee.
And they will
Don't follow nobody and believe that Jamaica get that US get 20%. Because let me tell you something. Japan alone is getting about 85% of the coffee. And let me tell you why. Because Japan over the years
hold on, Willie. Hold on.
profit.
Don't lose your thought, Willie. Hold on a sec. Hello, good morning. Hello, morning. All right, hold on, caller. Go ahead, Willie. Sorry about that. Willie, we're back with you. Yeah, Willie, we're back with you. Go ahead.
Yes, Japan have practiced a concept with Jamaica called forward trade, where we able to draw down money before they actually receive the goods.
Oh, so that's why
So
they give them
because
so
of
much
that, we
ice.
love that. What we need to do, put the coffee out here on the world stage and let the highest bidder buy our coffee.
Hallelujah. Yeah. So
That's what we are saying. The German, they need our coffee. That they love premium coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They can't. They only get a very tiny percentage of our coffee.
Yes, yes. So you're saying put the coffee out there and sell the coffee,
the coffee
to
out
the
there.
highest bidder.
Just as any other product.
My
We
brother.
need to take our coffee out of the control of this cartel. These few guys, maybe 1, 8, 10 guys, making millions every year after coffee, and the farmers them are suffer.
Time come. Willie, we want
Time come to true, man.
we want to thank you very much, and we will be talking to you more about other stuff, about the onion that the farmers in Western St. Thomas are not getting out the way they ought to. We need to talk to you about mangoes.
Yes, we need to talk about that.
Because we
And
have
one
to.
of the things in Western St. Thomas, which have the bigger belt, which can you know those pen line and others gap, for coffee come. Our member of parliament is not in the position to travel abroad to negotiate for our farmers.
But you say
And that is one of the problems.
But you say your member of parliament can't travel to
Our
go
member of
negotiate.
parliament, he can't travel abroad to really negotiate on behalf of the people of Western St. Thomas.
And Western St. Thomas is a unique place because they grow the most onion, mangoes in Jamaica. And if you have an MP that can't go deal with it for no, on him own, you have to depend on other people. What does that say?
Let me just say something to endorse it. We know that we started to ship mango to the United States a few years now.
Yeah.
But for you to ship mango, for the farm to be able to ship mango, it has to be certified by United States Department of Agriculture, by the plant quarantine. Everything go through the plant quarantine division that we have here. But U.S. Department of Agriculture is a part of it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. All the farms, not one farm you can find outside of the parish of St. Thomas. Not one of those farms, you can find outside of the parish of St. Thomas. And only one of those farms is in eastern St. Thomas. All the other farms are in western St. Thomas that can ship mangoes to the United States. Now, there's certain agreements that need to be set up so that the trade process can be easier, because right now the mangoes have to leave Jamaica, they have to go, they go to Texas, fly into Texas, then ship by truck now. They have to carry them to Gulfport, Mississippi. Then, of course, after the whole radiation process, then they truck them back to New York. No, you can't. You see how rigorous that process is?
Yes.
No, we have a member of parliament who could travel to the United States, sit at the table, and have good discussion on behalf of the people of St. Thomas and Jamaica.
So,
come on, man. A lot of things could have changed.
So isn't that been done by the Ministry of Agriculture? That kind of intervention?
So, but let me tell you what happened. You have to understand the problem that we have with the mangoes and why I speak to the member of parliament. Remember, you know, no other parish literally benefit from it. So it's a St. Thomas issue.
Yeah, it's a
West. Nobody else going to lobby for it because no other member of parliament. It don't affect their life. It don't affect their people's life.
So it's actually a Western St. Thomas issue.
It's actually a Western St. Thomas issue. Can you say
there's only one farm in Eastern St. Thomas that is certified?
Only one. And it's one of the smaller farms. Most of the mangoes are in Western St. Thomas. As I said before, only one farm is in Eastern St. Thomas. So all the others are in Western St. Thomas.
So the people of Western St. Thomas needs a Hubert Williams to do the work to benefit the people in Western St. Thomas. Western St. Thomas, I say to you, time come for a new direction. Time come for a new member of parliament. Time come for Hubert Williams to defend the farmers, not just in Western St. Thomas, but right across Jamaica. My brethren, anything you want to add finally?
Thank you very much, man. And again, thank you for having me. And I just want to say to all the farmers in Jamaica that a new day is dawning. We're going to really get the farming to the level that it really should be. We are lagging behind. We're going to bring forth the modernization of agriculture in Jamaica. And St. Thomas, let me tell you something. We have good climate. We have water that St. Elizabeth don't have. Once you elect the right member of parliament in the form of Hubert Ryan Williams, I will ensure that my parish get what is truly deserved. And I know my people are willing to do the necessary work to make St. Thomas become the most productive parish in Jamaica. Thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners.
Blessings, my brother. One love. We'll talk.
Thank you.
Councillor Hubert Ryan Williams. And let me tell you something. It's one thing I know about a man who, if you call him show off or cocky or hype, when we talk with things them, we ensure we get them done. And that is what I know about Willie. When him say him go out there go get it done, he's going to move mountains if that's what needs to be done. I trust this man. I trust this man. And you hear him explain the whole issue of mangoes coming to the US. Colin, how the Dominican can sell mangoes by the box. Well, you hear Willie say that mangoes can be exported from Western St. Thomas. There's one farm in Eastern St. Thomas that is also certified. But are we getting enough? And he spoke about the tedious process to get those mangoes into New York. And that what he believes that we need an MP in Western St. Thomas that can move around the world comfortably and make the kind of intervention to get the mangoes there. He also mentioned that we've been exporting coffee the same way for the last 100 years. Fair value, you need to know that time has changed. And therefore, we are going to make the changes. Why is it that as a man talk about farmers who make money, who no jump down pan him and want beat it down? What? Who no believes that poor people must start get to the top? Ziggy Marley said, small people one day will get big. The small farmers of St. Thomas and Jamaica, the time has come for you to get big and start earning. Give me a call, 876-804-7072. We are live on Portland Spice TV. We have over 650 devices. Like up the video, share up the video. This is the #1 program out of Jamaica on a Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning, we are here on Portland Spice TV. Like up the channel, subscribe to the channel. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Welcome, my brother.
Yeah, man. As I listened to the economic discussion this morning,
Yes.
I remember went back to 2000 and what it was again.
Hold on, Wilson. Hold on. Don't move. Don't move, Wilson. Hello, good morning. Oh, I'm hung up. Continue, Willow.
Yeah, 2000.
10, 8,
9, 10, 8, 9, 10.
11.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the discourse at the time was that the government was passing IMF test and failing the people's test. In fact,
hold on. No, man. 2008, 9, 10, 11 is one test them pass.
No, man.
That was the GLP
No,
era.
man. No. Hold on. I'm talking about the period leading up to 2016.
Yes, that is 2012 to 2016.
So 12, 13.
Yes.
The discourse at that time was that the government was passing IMF test and stealing the people's test.
Yes, I remember.
In fact, we were hearing at the time that the economy was doing well.
Yes.
But at the same time, the people on the ground, they were not benefiting from whatever good was happening in the economy at the time. So we had what I refer to as an economy doing well on paper. And on the ground, the people are suffering. Now, fast forward to what is happening now.
Yeah.
It is the same exact thing that is happening now. And I can tell you, in fact, possibly it's even worse.
I disagree with you because the economy is not doing well on paper.
Because, no, listen, the government is saying that the economy, all the markers are right. The government, after doing a reclassification, less than 3 years, the public sector workers are dissatisfied because when they go to the supermarket, they realize that whatever increase they had gotten for the past 3 years, inflation eat off all of that.
Long time.
So the reality is, they want us to believe that things is well, and they are trying to sell it to people outside of Jamaica who is not living here and feeling what is happening on a day-to-day basis. So when people talk about what is happening, they want to tell you that it is political, but it isn't. If you watch the commerce activity through this Easter period, it doesn't even appear like it is Easter.
Oh.
Because when you look it up, the government is actually mapping up liquidity in the sense that they are borrowing from the local market and sucking out all the little excess money that people have.
Yes.
From the local market. So therefore, there is no money out there to spur economic activity. Plus, we have to remember that over the last month, almost every single week, the Bank of Jamaica has to be backing the Jamaican dollar, which, in my estimation, is that the value of 158, 59 that we have now is the true value of the dollar. Because if it is, you have to put in $90 million each. If you're going 30 million today, 30 million, and then there are days when they do not sell the amount that is required.
Let me put this call on. Hold on, really. Hold on. Let me put this call on hold. Hold on. Morning.
Hi, Colin.
Hold the line for me. I'm coming back to you. Yeah, Willie, continue.
Yes. So I am saying that the dollar presently is not the true value, the money, what we have for the US now. Because if the dollar was at its true value, it wouldn't require the DOJ to be intervening in the market so regularly. And remember, it's not like we have a spur of economic activity. It is reasonable to conclude that for housekeeping events, we don't have enough foreign exchange.
Yes. Hold on, caller.
So,
Continue, Willie.
therefore, we have to get to a point where our finance minister understands that if it is that money is not flowing in a way where the ordinary man can have money to spend and opportunity is there for the ordinary man to earn, we will forever be having 1% and 1.5 and 0.8% growth, and it will be the same story over again. That's my bit this morning, sir.
Blessings, my brother. Thanks for the contribution.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yes, my brother. Good morning. Go ahead.
Yes, I heard you talking about the trade and coffee and all that.
Yes.
Yes. What we need is a trade. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Loud and clear.
What we need is a trade officer in the embassy in Washington, D.C.
Talk to me.
And that trade officer can travel throughout, say, for example, the United States and meet with all the people who are necessary to get our products into the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple.
Well,
and that's what Jamaica needs to do. You don't need
I'm not going to respond.
You don't need a politician. You don't need a politician to be traveling all over the world. You need a trade officer in the embassy.
Well, I don't know if we have one, because we may have one. But what I understand.
No, you don't. You don't have one. I'm saying that should be the policy.
We don't have a trade officer in the embassy?
I don't think so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a thought you have. And that's why I am saying I'm not going to comment on that, because I don't know if we have one. I'll find out. Because it's possible.
I'm not asking you to comment. I'm saying that's the proposal for a trade officer.
Right. So you're putting the proposal, and I'm saying I'm not going to say anything about it, because I don't know if we already have one. We could. But what I understand, Councillor Williams is saying, that even if you have a trade officer over there, yeah, as the MP for an area that is exclusively exporting mangoes, as the MP, he would want to make sure that he take a trip to find out what can change to make the process easier. And that is the responsibility of your representative, to ensure that the difficulties that you are going through can be made easier if it is possible. So I don't have a problem with a politician taking a trip to ensure that, listen, this can be different. Because when you see things firsthand, sometimes that is when you understand the matrix and know how to go around it if it can go around.
Well, I do understand that, but a trade officer should be communicating with the person in the communities in Jamaica that are producing whatever products that they're exporting.
Right. So I'll check it out. I'll check it out and see if we have one.
All right. Thank you.
All right, my brother. Hello, morning.
Yeah, morning, Colin.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Morning, Austin.
Huh? Caller.
Yeah, the other day, man, we had a discussion at work the other day. And basically they were saying that they're doing good because the NIR is about over 5 billion. I said, no, that was as a result of them going to the International Lending Agency to get money to pop up that. And he was running me down that it was natural. So I said, all right, we find out who's right. They went to do you have any knowledge of them going to the International Lending Agency to get that money to pop the NIR?
To pop up? No, I don't think that's all the NIR. No, I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain that
you should have called when Ralston was on.
Nigel Clark had gone to the International Agency and dumped some money in it.
You should have called when Ralston was on. We would have to ask that question to a Ralston, man. I'm not sure about that.
All right, cool. Thanks.
But I'll try and find out. Maybe I'll try and find out before
Yeah, man. And I'll be listening. All right?
And the question is again,
cool.
the question is, did we go?
The total in the NIR is as a result of them going to the international lending agencies, got some money and dump it in the NIR to make it look good.
Well, I'll check that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, please.
All right,
please.
I will check that.
I need to win this argument because they're telling me things and I don't buy it 1 minute.
All right, my brother. No respect.
All right, Colin. Cool.
All right.
Have a good.
So the man is asking, how did the NIR get to $5 billion? Did we go to any of the lending agencies to borrow money to pop up the NIR? I am not sure how we got to the $5 billion. So I know Ralston is going to a funeral. And if I get him, I'm trying to get him. Ralston, I have one question for you. Hold for me. I get him. So I'm going to try and get just that question for the listeners and see if that is how they are seeing it. I don't know where them get that from. Merge that. Mute that. Ralston.
Yeah, I'm here now.
I just had a caller asking, how did the NIR get to $5 billion? Did we borrow some money from any of the lending agencies to pop up that?
Yeah, man. When the money from the IMF and them places come in, they go straight to the NIR.
Oh.
So when World Bank give a loan or IMF give a loan, BOJ take it straight from the ministry where it go to and give them Jamaican dollars.
So the money, so hold on. So if we borrow let's say if we borrow $2 billion from the IMF, it goes into the NIR.
Yeah, and the BOJ give the government Jamaican dollar equivalent.
So it is borrowed money that is in the NIR.
Yeah, man, most of it.
Oh, so we didn't earn that money that is there.
No, because if you're running massive trade and current account deficit, you can't build up NIR.
Ooh, so caller, you heard it. The money that is in
and just to backtrack to give a lesson on the NIR, just want to remind the people, in 1989, the NIR was minus $500 million.
So we never have none.
We never have none. And the man who them say the worst finance minister, who them cost the most, bring it from minus 500 million to 2.4 billion in 2007. So
2007, we had $2.4 billion coming from minus 500 million.
And by 2011, when we approached the IMF, it dropped to $1 billion. It fell to $1 billion under Ardley Shaw.
So you're saying when Ardley Shaw, Bruce Golding, Andrew Holness took it in 2007, by we get to 2011, we were down to $1 billion.
We only have $1 billion left because of the stupidity tell the people that the world recession would have helped Jamaica. Yeah.
And then when we left at 2016, what was it?
We carried up back to about 2.5 billion when Peter Phillips left.
So we carried back to where it was?
Before they run it down.
And now these men, for the last 9 years...
take credit.
Add another 2.5 to it, so it's at 5 billion.
Yeah, man, because we get more money from borrow since then. We get money from IMF in a COVID-19. We get more $1 billion from IMF in a COVID-19. We get money from IDB, all of them things.
So it's borrowed money that is...
Borrowed money. Most of it is borrowed money.
All right, my brother. No respect and thanks.
Listen,
all right. So, caller, I got your answer. You are right. It's borrowed money that builds up the NIR. We don't earn that kind of money. Lord have mercy. They're going to hate with the more. They are going to hate us because we put the truth on the table. But I want to thank my mother, Mary Arthurs McLaughlin. I want to thank her. Because one thing she taught me early, that the truth is an offense. So when you talk the truth, people are offended. This morning, we're not going too long with the program. We're going to be finishing at 11 or maybe a little after 11. 876-804-7072. Tell her. Yes, sir. The farmers' help is on the way. Western St. Thomas and Reggae Girl, you did hear me say that Willie not just going to speak for the farmers of Western St. Thomas, but for the farmers right across Jamaica. Eastern St. Thomas, Eastern and Western Portland, rural St. Andrew. He's going to be speaking for all the farmers. A lot of farmers in Portland gave up their coffee. Lego coinite when coffee went down to $3,000 a box. Coffee is now at $10,000 or $11,000 a box.
Coffee is now at 10 hours.
Sure, man, when you call me, man, turn off the instrument that you're listening on and just listen to me on your phone. Talk to me.
Yeah, where you say no coffee will make money?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
You know what coffee farmers to make money?
You know, more everybody to make money.
So let me ask you a question, Shower man. If a man come out and say coffee farmers forget $22,000 a box, why everybody want to beat him?
Well, I know everybody want to beat him, but the system, the system won't go on in that me, I know.
No, but that's why I'm saying about change the system. That's why we need to change the government, because the government is endorsing the system.
Let me see if we can change the government now. Let me see if we can. All right, now come next month, we have one candidate, you know. And we're going to divide on, you know.
Which one?
Last time we have him on the program, you know.
Which candidate?
Central Kingston, you know. Last time in the program, you know. The man say come next month, he must step out and the Alman town, I'm going to be with him. So we don't know if independent, he must go and come on the JP side.
All right. So the remittance money going at the NIR. All right. Give thanks. Yeah. So hold on, Showerman. Ralston just called me back for say also the money from remittance that goes into the NIR.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So Showerman.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, Ralston. Showerman, we don't worry about. He's not a candidate for the PNP.
But look, you know, in the dead, I don't take him down, you know. Remember, you know.
Yeah, man, the PNP changed the candidate. So
yeah,
it is Lawrence's right to do whatever he wants to do. So if he wants to join the GLP, that is his right. If he wants to go independent, because I saw that too, that he's also thinking about going independent. So
them time on the vote cut.
But I tell you, be careful. Because you want to take two down a Westmoreland, they were tearing apart. Tell her.
It's all right.
You see that show, man? Mine won't pick up, you know, because you pick up two down a Westmoreland, they were rip it apart, you know.
Yeah.
Show, man, I tell you something, you know. I think he's a smart guy. The country needs a change. Ensure that we get a change. Little more.
Yeah, man.
Showerman no fool. Showerman realize that farmers ought to be protected. Because you see, with this world crisis we are going, the most important thing is food. Food. And Jamaica needs food security. April 14, 2020, I made a post on Facebook that the Jamaican government should invest $1.4 billion in agriculture to shore up our food security. And they paid it no mind. And here we are now. Here we are now in problem. Food security is vital to any nation, because as human beings we can't live without food. And therefore, time come to ensure that our farmers are respected. Our farmers needs to earn the kind of money that makes them comfortable and makes them want to farm. If you go in the developed countries, you see farmers are big people. Farmers are not looked down on like we do in Jamaica. And I find it very strange that a man come out and say coffee farmers must get $22,000 a box. And I hear Cliff Hughes jump out and call him dunce and fool. And then I hear Fieval Williams, no less a person than the Minister of Finance. And that's why I know that this topic is important. vital that our farmers now need to come out and vote for the party that is looking at them with respect, that is looking at them as the next set of millionaires in Jamaica. Because when you go to the United States and you go to Canada and the UK and right across Europe, farmers are millionaires. Farmers are not beggars. Farmers are not sufferers. Only in Jamaica, you treat farmers like beggars and sufferers. And we say time come for that stop. Time come for our farmers to be wealthy. For our farmers to be major employers of people. You see, Jamaicans are left here, go to farm work and people farm abroad. Farming is subsidized in developed countries. Norman Grant is asking the government for $350 million for coffee farmers. You hear Hubert Williams say that the next PNP government will put more than that in coffee because we are now exporting between $25 and $50 million in coffee. We can hope that to between 100 and 150 million US dollars. So time come for a new direction. Time come for people who means the average Jamaican well. Time come to get rid of the vulture capitalists. Colin, I live in Edmonton. You will see millionaires who are farmers. Yeah, man. And welders. Blue-collar workers can make good money. Time come for Jamaica to grow. Time come to get out of this recession. And the GLP can't do it. Some people might get vexed at that statement. The GLP can't take us out of the recession. Because the first thing, they don't believe that we are in a recession. Or they say they don't believe, but they know. So they're lying to the people. And if you continue lying to the people, you're going to start lying to yourself. So, I want to thank Ralston Iman this morning for spending time with us, showing the Jamaican people what is happening with the economy, not just in Jamaica, but on the global stage. I want to thank Hubert Ryan Williams, Councillor Williams, for coming on this morning and doubling down that coffee farmers can get more money for their coffee. He said for the last 100 years, we have been exporting coffee the same way. Everything else in the world has evolved. So must the exportation of coffee. And we want to thank you, the callers, and all the people in the chat room, because the chat room, wow, is a very, very active space. I want to thank all of you. Thank all of you who have subscribed to the channel. And we seek ambassadors for Portland Spice TV as we build this platform to give you information and bring you all together as well and get information from you. Some people tell us they're buying mango for $11 a box, 11 pounds a box. Some people tell us that in New York, it's $4 a pound for mangoes. Yes, I've been reading your comments. But we need to get more Jamaican mangoes in there. Somebody say they only see mangoes from El Salvador. They don't see no mangoes from Jamaica. Junior.
Morning.
Wagwan.
I'm there. How you work out the statement about bad mind?
So a man think it's so. So a man think it's so easy.
My question, right? When them thief want money, now bad mind, them bad mind.
Of course.
So them not ball out say
bad
them
mind
bad mind because
ready,
them friend them thief want money.
But you hear me say a little while.
The other thing we want to find out though, right? Anybody ever bad mind thief yet?
Anybody ever bad mind who?
Thief.
Well, them say thief no likes a thief can long bag.
Aye, so we don't normally bad mind thief yet.
But the program this morning was very good because Mr. Williams and Ralston really top up the thing, you know.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
The other thing I want to talk to you about from the other day, you see the era where you cover sports, entertainment, and culture.
Yes.
You have to do a little more on that. The people of Jamaica don't understand what you're talking about, you know.
I know.
60% of the people have no idea. Every time you come on and talk about it, people call afterwards and start questions and rubbish you talk.
Well, see the minister of tourism came out now, and they are saying that Carnival, last year Carnival, created $95 billion. I am saying from a creative myself and somebody who believe that the creative industry can really turn this economy around. I am not in agree. I don't believe those figures. I believe
that makes sense.
I believe those figures are overinflated.
But if I was wondering, I wanted to get a question to Ralston. If the sports and entertainment, farming, and the logistics come together, about what type of percentage growth you think that would incur?
I think that if we get that logistics up, we get the culture and the creative industry running at full, and agriculture playing its role, that would also enhance. There's a lot of noise in your background, Junior. That would also enhance the tourism industry. I think we could be growing by 7 to 8, anywhere between 7 and 10% annually. You heard me?
The connection, man.
Yeah, man. I think we could be growing between 7 and 10% annually if we get the global logistics up, culture and the creative and culture up, agriculture up. It would enhance tourism. I think 7 to 10% growth could be good. Could be a possibility.
And I have the same type of feeling too. But I wanted to see if I could get somebody else's opinion. I don't want to be too over exuberant, you know. But I think that type of figure is realistic.
Yeah, man. But I think it would take us anywhere between 4 to 6 years though to get to that position. Because to build out the culture and creative industry and get it start growing, that would take us about 4 years. Global logistics about another 4 years. So everything being done simultaneously. Agriculture could be quicker though. I think agriculture could get up to growth within 2 years. And tourism is already.
And the other thing we need to look at, I remember, Jamaica and Ghana were very close, you know. And Guyana now have oil.
Yeah, so that's the difference with Guyana. Guyana struck oil, and I also believe that Jamaica going to find oil too. I'm confident about that.
I think if we have better foreign policy, we can strike a better relationship with Guyana because we had that before.
Yeah, man, but you see, this administration won't be able to do it, you know, because they don't believe in
regionalization. No sense. They say their foreign policy is more transactional, you know.
Yeah, man, and they don't believe in the region. They don't have that regional connection, and regional leaders are aware of that, so they don't have no confidence when they talk to a Labour Party administration in Jamaica. When there's a PNP administration in Jamaica, there are more regional collaboration.
They need to lose call the election and make sense of the people take this country and lead it.
All right,
and show people how we grow our economy.
All right,
all
sir.
Right.
No respect.
Enjoy the rest of the Easter, you know.
Same to you, my brother.
And all the best to the fans and thing. All right,
One
take
love.
it easy.
One love. Happy Easter to everybody. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace now and forevermore. Tell everybody about this morning program. They need to watch it. One love, my people. See you Tuesday evening, 4 o'clock Jamaica time, 5 o'clock in the US, 6 o'clock in the UK. Tell the people around the world. Portland Spice TV. One love, my people.
Ta-da.